Welcome, WasteBuilders, to the latest 10-minute episode of audio from WasteBuild, and another chance to hear from those leading the transition towards a circular built environment. This session is part of the panel discussion about the business case for circular development and is presented by Folkert Moll from the global consultancy KPMG. In this episode, Folkert sets the scene specifically regarding the lean-to cradle approach, which our following speaker, Ignasi Cubina from Eco-Intelligent Growth, continues. You can catch Ignasi's presentation next, but in the meantime, Folkert, it's over to you.
Yep, it's working, perfect. All right, thanks a lot and good morning to you all. Really happy to be here. What I'm going to do in the next 5 minutes is just talk to you about building shared value. Well, I guess Duncan has said a lot already, so I'm trying to keep it short and then hand over to Ignasi Cubina, who's sitting over there, who has a brilliant approach to making this happen. Just to wrap it up, why are we working on the circular economy again? It's because a lot of things are happening around us. We're reaching the boundaries of our planet, and obviously this is also going to impact business the way it is. Climate change is happening, resource scarcity, food security, a lot more people are coming, people are getting wealthier, and we need to do more with what we currently have. And what does this mean? Businesses have to change as well. All organizations, in a way, have to change. If not, because the government makes stricter regulations and is stimulating positive behavior, if not because stakeholders are asking for it, consumers are asking for it, it's also because the market is changing. The companies and the organizations that make the change now and take that step to a circular economy, those are the ones that will be ahead of the market. All the other ones, in the end, I don't think they will be future-proof. And of course, there are more reasons to go circular because you can create a lot of value. It's not just the business case. It's not just about cost saving or having easier access to finance. It's also about protecting the environment, doing better there. But it's also in the choice of materials that you do. They have to be healthy. Healthy for the environment, but also healthy for the humans. And that also brings me to another value when you look at the social side of it. Circular economy is really about sharing in a way. It's sharing the risks that you have in a value chain, but it's also about sharing the positive effects of the value chain that you design. So in a way, you're creating a community, but it also means involving the community, because if you want to make the most value of what you're going to create, you want to know who is your user, because the user in the end determines whether it's a positive experience or not. So a lot of value can be created, and this should always be top of mind when you design something new. There are multiple ways to do it. This is a study that we did with Corporate, looking into revenue models. Which revenue model fits best with a circular economy strategy? Well, actually, all 4 of them might work. Pay-per-use, renting out, even a lease model might use. We do notice that the models that make sure that the producer stays the owner of the materials, so the producer of a building in the end will get the materials back, those are the ones that are most successful. Those have the highest incentives for circularity. How does it work? Of course it's important that you make good agreements, both between producer and the user, but if there's a leasing company involved, the same for that as well. Because in the end, if you want to make something last, it's not just one party that has the responsibility, it's all of us that have the responsibility. And we have to do this throughout the full life cycle. So we all know this first one. Even right now, I meet with a lot of construction companies and they say, everybody's talking about circular ambitions, but in the end, what it all comes down to is the initial cost. What are the investments that we have to make? And that determines kind of the circularity. But you have to think broader than that. We already heard it before. You have to think about the full life cycle. So also take the material cycling into account. But in a way, you have to even think further, because these are all direct effects. Looking at the cost, looking at the life cycle cost and benefits, you also have to think about the social side of it. For instance, when you look at the building, the indirect effect is the user of the buildings. Will they be less or more productive because of design? Will they feel healthy when they're inside the building? But also look at it from a more environmental side of it. Does the building help to adapt to climate change, for instance, by having water buffers that help cooling or that help against extreme weather? So you have to take all of this into account, because maybe right now there is a certain cost, but you have to also take the future into account to prevent that you have to make extra investments later on. Now, how can we do that? I've been working with Ignasi for over a year now, and they've developed a lean to cradle approach. And it seems to me like a very good approach to have this whole holistic view of looking at the life cycle, but also looking at broader effects, the social effects, the environmental effects. But it also has the business side in it. We know, I think most of you have heard of lean construction, right? The focus is on the voice of the customer and making as little waste as possible. So that means creating value for the external customer, making sure you optimize internal processes, and of course be compliant to regulation. But what's missing in lean construction, or at least the emphasis is missing, on the societal effects of what you're creating. That's where cradle to cradle comes in. This philosophy is, in a sense, much broader, because it takes material cycling into account, yes, but it also takes carbon management into account, it takes social fairness into account. So when you have this broader view, you can be much more effective. And this is where I'd like to hand over also to you, Ignasi, because to sum it up, what we need is an approach that takes the life cycle into account, but also looks at the broader effects than just the business case. Thank you.
Many thanks again to all our contributors from last year, and to you for listening and being part of this circular transition for the built environment. We really look forward to seeing you at the NDSM in Amsterdam this November. Do visit the website www.wastebuild.com and keep an eye out for the next release of content from the 2019 event and our brand new audio content coming soon. So until next time, stay safe and bye-bye.